Hello, it is 11 a.m. in Berlin. It's 12 noon in Athens. I'm Monita Rajpal. You're watching World One, live from London. We begin with a defining moment for Greece. The debt-plagued country is making new moves to try to avoid a financial meltdown. Greek Prime Minister George Papandreou is replacing his finance chief and forming a new government. The new cabinet is to be sworn in at this hour. The reshuffle is an attempt to drum up support for more painful austerity measures. Greece needs more money. Billions of dollars, in fact. It is teetering on the edge of a debt default. The country won't get its next round of international bailout money unless its embattled leader can push deeper spending cuts through Parliament, and the deadlines are looming. If Greece can't get its act together financially, it will start defaulting on $165 billion of debt this summer. And that makes a lot of people nervous about potential ripple effects. Some European banks could be vulnerable because of their big investments in Greece. French banks are involved to the tune of about $53 billion. For German lenders, it is closer to $34 billion. European Central Bank President Jean-Claude Trichet has told CNN that the Greek debt crisis is not just a Eurozone problem. White House spokesman Jay Carney says if Greece fails in its reforms, it could result in, quote, headwinds for the global economy. So the eyes of the world are very much on Greece. Let's go right now to Athens and my colleague Diana Magna, who's standing by for us live. Diana, so we see that this reshuffle has taken place. Is it pretty much a look of the same people in different places, or are there new faces that could potentially bring in some fresh blood to this very, very deep problem that the country's facing?
No fresh faces, Monita. This is very much a reshuffle of existing members of the PASOK ruling party. But what George Papandreou, the
Diana Magna in Athens, thank you. Now, keep in mind, it's European taxpayers, especially in Germany, who funded much of Greece's bailout so far, and that's been making life at home tough for German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She's holding crisis talks about now with French President Nicolas Sarkozy. Francesco Saracino is a senior economist at the French Observatory of Economic Conditions. We go to him live now in Paris. Sir, thank you very much for being with us. I guess to help people around the world understand how deeply worrying this situation is, not just for Greece, but for countries and economies around the world. The ripple effects are huge, and the words that people don't want to hear are default and contagion.
Yes, that is the main problem the world is facing today. Greece is today on the verge of collapse, and there are lots of reasons to worry.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think you added a third word there that nobody wants to hear. In addition to contagion and default, it's Lehman. I'm sorry, so we're going to have to leave it there. Francesco Saracino there in Paris, thank you so much for your time. Well, worries over Greece are hammering the stock markets again. European shares sank to their lowest point in 3 months on Thursday, and they're heading even lower right now. The threat of ripple effects, as we've been hearing there, from a Greek meltdown also sent shockwaves through Asian markets. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong fell for the 11th time in the past 12 sessions. In Saudi Arabia are being urged to get behind the wheel of their cars today in protest at not being allowed to drive. It's long been considered unacceptable for women to drive in the kingdom because of strict religious codes. Today, though, many women look set to challenge the status quo. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoon is following the story for us at CNN Abu Dhabi. He joins us now live. And Mohammed, tell us a little bit about how this protest came about.
Monita, in the last 2 months, an initiative, a campaign was started in Saudi Arabia, spearheaded by Saudi women who were tired of not having the right to drive. It was called
World One. Here are some of the stories we're talking about on CNN. Are you a Facebook fan? Well, if you can't get through the day without the social network, you are 10% more likely to have closer friends and get emotional support than other internet users. A U.S. survey also said Facebook users are far more likely than others to be engaged with politics and to vote. Well, the U.S. congressman behind the sexting scandal making headlines in America has finally stepped down. Anthony Weiner lied about sending lewd pictures of himself to women before eventually he admitted responsibility and apologized. Weiner said on Thursday the distraction caused by the scandal made it impossible for him to carry on in Congress. The Democrat had been considered a frontrunner in the race for the post of New York mayor in 2013. And if you're a parent, you may want want to look away right now. At first, it seems innocent enough. A lioness trying to make friends with a small boy. So cute. But look closer. Is she friendly or is she hungry? Oh, well, as she opens her mouth, the boy shows no fear and tries to pat her on the nose. The 400-pound lioness, Angie, as she's known, is not about to give up and has another go. Thankfully, he is safe behind glass. This amazing video was shot by Trent's father at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado earlier this week. Oh, what a little cutie. Well, 7 different nations are represented among the top 9 golfers on the leaderboard at the U.S. Open. And our very own Don Riddell has the very latest and more on this. And I guess the name that we all want to hear about is Rory McIlroy.
Well, he's certainly the big talking point. Thanks very much, Monita. The second round of golf's US Open tees off in just under 2 hours. Got a few tips from the great Jack Nicklaus recently, by the way. It seems that they've given him a real help.
Sounds good. Are you a fan of leopard cubs?
They're all right. What kind of a question is that?
Well, you've got some cute video. You've got to see this. It's just very, very sweet. Your kids would love them. Your boys would love these pictures. These are extremely rare snow leopard cubs, and they're just 9 weeks old. We need to have a collective awe. Well, to Russia now, where worries over the Greek debt crisis are very much on everyone's mind at the International Economic Forum. CNN's Jun17 joins us now live from St. Petersburg with more on that. John.
It's interesting, Monita, the stark contrast if you take the big picture and take a step back here.
Very interesting indeed. All right, Jun17 there in St. Petersburg in Russia. Thank you so much. We take you to Syria now, where the U.S. is increasing its contact with opposition leaders both in and outside of the country. The State Department says it is interested in supporting the struggle of those coming together to demand change. A department spokeswoman stopped short of calling on President Bashar al-Assad to leave office, but she told reporters that the government's repression of its people is, quote, revolting. Well, as opposition leaders plan yet another day of demonstrations, many Syrians continue to flee across the Turkish border to escape the violence. Emergency officials in Turkey say there are now almost 9,000 Syrian refugees in the country. CNN's Arwa Damon is at a refugee camp now just inside Turkey, where they're expecting a high-profile visitor within the next few hours, Arwa.
That's right, Monita. Angelina Jolie is expected to be making a visit to one of the refugee camps, perhaps more if she does have time.
Welcome back. Is it a question of being competitive or cruel? A need for safety or speed? Horse racing authorities in the UK are reviewing one of the sport's oldest and most controversial practices, the use of the whip. The issue was brought into focus this week at one of the world's most prestigious meetings, Royal Ascot in England. Well, the former British champion jockey Frankie Dettori won the Prince of Wales Stakes on Wednesday, but he was handed with a 9-day ban from riding for excessive use of the whip. Now, this isn't an issue that's not a new issue, I should say, but it's one that is being debated the world over. We begin here in the UK, where the Toaster race course in England is proposing what's known as a hands and heels rule, and that means a jockey can only use the whip on the horse's shoulder when approaching an obstacle. Now, a tougher stance has been taken by Norway. It is the only country in the world that we know of to effectively ban the whip. The exception to the rule is when the horse needs to be controlled in a dangerous situation. And of course, this is a topic that has been widely and hotly debated in Australia, where we see that the University of Sydney published a study this year saying that among the key findings, whipping does not increase a horse's chances of finishing first, second, or third. Now, this isn't something that is that just interests Europe and Australia. Kentucky, Dubai, and Hong Kong. These are some of the places that hold world-famous race meetings, making it a sport worth billions. Now, we invited the British Horse Racing Authority to participate today, but with Royal Ascot in progress, the UK's biggest flat racing meeting of the year, it wasn't possible. That's what they told us. In a statement, however, they told CNN, "We appreciate that the use of the whip in racing can be of concern to the public, and that the perception is some of that it is cruel." For more on this, we want to speak to Douglas Batchelor from the League Against Cruel Sports. Sir, thank you very much for being with us. What is your response to the BHA's statement saying that it's only for safety only?
Not good enough. And what we're saying, in a sense, is people are using whips to encourage animals to do things.
But there, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We take you to China now, where over the last couple of weeks, the government has been faced with a wave of social unrest. Rare pictures of demonstrations have found their way out of the country, showing the extent of the trouble there. Yoon visited one of the towns that has seen violent confrontations to find out more, and this is what she found out.
This is where it all began, outside of this supermarket. A pregnant migrant worker and her husband set up a stand here to sell some jeans.
Welcome back. This is World One, live from London. We are coming up at almost 6 a.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in Athens, 7 p.m. in Tokyo. Now, it's a photo that seems out of place in the middle of the Vancouver riots, yet it's proving to be the most popular topic online, and some say it could even be a fake. Take a look at the whole sequence. It starts with a typical riot scene, smoke, police, and rioters being chased. There's more widespread flooding out of Asia. This time it's coming in Australia. Meteorologist Jennifer Delgado is at the World Weather Center with details on that. Jen.
Yeah, you know, Monita, I have to tell you, that photo right there, really, do you think that gentleman didn't know he might be attracting a little attention this weekend like that one out of Vancouver, right?
Oh, of course.
Totally.
Of course.
In London. Don't we all? Yeah. We wish we all did, right?
Yeah. All right.
Take care.
Jen, thank you so much. You have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Now, before we go, we want to update you on our top stories here on CNN. Greece has a new look government. From me and the team here on World One, thank you for watching CNN.